Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the International Webinar Series on Holistic Health, Well-being and Sustainable Development 2025, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 78 years of independence and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030 and Viksit Bharat at 2047. As part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Art, Sciences and Wellbeing. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations. Today, we are commemorating British summertime ends in UK. Like many other countries, the UK changes its clock twice a year to extend daylight. On October 30, the time falls back 1 hour, signaling the start of fall and the shortening of days. Now observed in over 70 countries, daylight savings time pushes clocks forward 1 hour during the summer, making the days feel longer and gives people more time to get work done in daylight. As British summertime ends, get ready to rug up and welcome the colors of a new season. So, British summertime has a complex history starting with the World War I and undergoing several changes before evolving into its current form. The concept of daylight saving time, an ideal first recorded by Benjamin Franklin in 1784, was introduced in Britain in 1907. William Willett, annoyed with the lost hours of the daylight he prescribed as a waste, wrote a pamphlet encouraging governments to adopt daylight saving time. It wasn't until after his death that Germany became the first European country to adopt it, with the UK quickly following the suit as the Great War broke down on the continent concerned with delicate mechanisms of early 20th century, clocks of officials publishing guidelines and warnings in newspapers to ensure people could change their time without damaging their clocks. So during World War II, things got even more complicated as the British adopted British double summer time, pushing the clock forward 2 hours between 1968 and 1971. The country experimented with staying on summertime all year long. The experiment ended, although it's possible the longer days contributed to the lower car crash rates. Before the government established former summertime, King Edward 7. An avid hunter used his own version called Sandringham time to give himself an extra 30 minutes of daylight for hunting on his country estate. The United States adopted the daylight savings time in 1980, establishing both standard and geographic time zones. The unpopular system, repealed after World War I, was reinstated as wartime using the World War II and finally standardized again nationwide in 1975. The debate over the benefits of daylight saving time ranges on whether you think it's an archaic custom left over from another time or useful tool for making the most of the available daylight. You'll find people passionately arguing for each side. Today is also commemorated as National Candy Corn Day in US on October 30th, which is an autumn treat for everyone. There are commonplace in store windows at parties. We eat them like popcorn by the handful, and so it seems only natural. We celebrate them for a day. Would you believe that technically they are vegetable? Well, they are. Whether you grab some from your kitchen table or eat small packets, candy corn returns every year and it's not going anywhere. So grab a handful and join us for National Candy Corn Day. So George Renninger, who worked at the Wonderly Candy Company, created candy corn in 1800s. Working out of Philadelphia, he invented it to celebrate what he believed to be beauty of corn juxtaposed with autumnal colors. Winter was cold, dark, and long, and the bright colors of candy would last for a long time, bringing optimism and joy as well as the burst of sugar. Specialized candy for Halloween turned out to be a winning idea, and different Halloween candles becoming increasingly popular over time. Wonderly was credited for being the first to sell candy corn commercial, even though Jewelettes, also known as Jelly Belly, is the most into commercial candy corn sales. So candy corn began its life as a food for chickens and used to be available between March and November only. It was originally a type of mellow cream known as buttercream candies. The name was changed in 1950s due to false advertising as it has no butter inside it. The original method of making candy corn was to pour each color into mold separately, but this was a very time-consuming process. So the recipe was sugar, corn syrup, and water. Later on, marshmallow and fondant started being added, and then so was carnauba wax. Today, the recipe is pretty similar and gives us plenty of energy after coffee eating. Today is also commemorated as National Checklist Day in US. If you pride yourself on organization's week, then put a check mark next to National Checklist Day on October 30, a cherished holiday which keeps our lives together. The more complex our lives get, the easier it is to make mistakes. Today we celebrate the humble checklist as innovative tool has stood the test of time. So without checklist, we can feel that we are juggling a bunch of balls in the air, trying to keep them from dropping. Even the simple things can be forgotten or go unnoticed, let alone the difficult or complex things that fill our day. Although success is an endeavor, is not guaranteed. Armed with the organized checklist, you stand a better chance of achieving your goals. So, the National Checklist Day, the result of a reformed order of the work of obsessive compulsive free. The first checklist resulted from a crash that injured several people, killing at least two on Boeing Model 299 B-17 plane in 1935. The 299 was heralded as the most state-of-the-art aircraft at the time. During the post-crash intervention, Boeing discovered that the pilot has forgotten to do a simple task, turn off the elevator lock. The simple omission caused the aircraft not to respond to pinch control, leaving the plane vulnerable. According to the report by two university professors in a 1990 study, cockpit checklists serve several key functions in aviation safety. To ensure that the crew will popularly configure the airplane for any given segment of flight and to create standardization in the cockpit. Also, the memory of safety procedures can never take the place of actual checklist in aviation. So if a checklist can keep us flying safely in the air, what better way to keep our lives organized, running smoothly on the ground? American companies also use checklists as a successful training tools. Now you know the origins of the National Checklist Day. Check that off your list and enjoy the rest of the day. So today is also commemorated as National Publicity Day in US, celebrated every year on October 30 to appreciate and acknowledge the work public relations professionals do to ensure proper communication reaches the world in today's hyper opinionated world where rumors and fake news spread faster. We need publicists to let us in on the truth straight from the horse mouth. On October 28, 1906, a terrible accident occurred in New Jersey. Over 50 people met there, and when a three-car train run by Pennsylvania Railroad jumped a trestle to plunge into a road creek, a gentleman representing the Pennsylvania Railroad convinced the company to distribute a public statement on the accident. The company also arranged a special train to ferry reporters to the accident site on his persuasion. So he drafted the public statement published by the New York Times on October 30, 2 days later, as a statement from the road that was first press release ever recorded, for which gentleman, who was in the thick of the things, E.B. Lee, became known as the father of modern PR. The 1906 Atlantic train wreck as an accident came to be known, established crisis communication as an essential aspect of commercial enterprises. It established public relations as a specialized field and gave publicists a key space in business operations. Years later, Jordana Stephen, a celebrated publicist, instituted that October as National Publicity Day as a tribute to the landmark event since 2015. So on this day, publicists and people associated with public relations conduct events, seminars, conferences, and generally catch up on all that is going on their profession. Since publicists primarily work behind the scenes, it's a day for them to step out and pat themselves on the back, ensuring that people receive proper communication. Public relations is often thought of the same as marketing, and while two overlap, there are distinct differences. Their roles have become more critical today with the internet spending up at rate which travels. It becomes essential that the correct information reaches the general public before they fall prey to fake news and rumors. Today is also commemorated as National Speak Up for Service Day in US. National Speak Up for Service Day, held annually on October 30, is an event specially organized to recognize the contribution of youth towards community service. This day also recognizes the need to tell others how important youth contribution actually is to various causes. We see and accept how much influence young people have on our environment. So, involvement in society has gained a prominence over the few decades. Strictly speaking up was not always considered good behavior in history. So called good children did not always speak up. This perception is slowly changing nationally and globally. While the term youth is subject to each country's cultural context and rules, and the age at youth begins and end varies, the common age, 15 to 25 or 24, remains the same. Young people have been speaking out about issues important to them for a while now. Asma Mahfouz vlog was one of the factors responsible for sparking the 2011 Arab Spring Revolution in Egypt, or so many people believe. As recently, 2015, young Sophie Cruz, then a child of 5, wrote a letter to the Pope asking him to intervene on her parents' behalf and stop them from being deported from America. She continues advocating for greater openness towards immigrants and refugees, even today. Across the US, such cases became more common from the mid to late 19th century as young people formed labor strikes to protest working conditions, wages, and working hours. In the 1930s, as people began to separate the youth's interest from older counterparts, the American Youth Congress presented a Bill of Youth Rights to the US Congress. Youths have been participating in all sections of reforms more frequently since then, including in the civil rights movement, the Occupy movement, and the more. In fact, Martin Luther King Jr. engaged youth activists to protest against the racist law enforcement practices in Birmingham, Alabama. Today's youth are building on the actions of the past. Youth speakers and activists greatly helped in social media With such platforms, they can rapidly access, sift, and use data and petition for causes. The Community Service Club, Men and Lions Club, founded the National Speak Up for Service Day in 2014, but its history began long before that in honor of social worker Lauta Krishnan Ebjo. The Fargo Lions Club joined hands with Laura French to launch a public speaking contest for high school students in that area. So they wanted to find a meaningful way to acknowledge Laura's service and work. They called this event the Student Speakers Contest and is held annually in March. From this, Robert Littlefields of Lion Club International, the Parents Community Service Organization, to Fargo Lions Club, took up the mantle, launching the contest as a statewide initiative when he served as a district governor in 2010-2011. The Lions Club itself held the very first Lions Speak Up for Service public speaking contest in 2010 at the North Dakota State Lions Convention. In Grand Forks that year, high school senior Brent Johnson took home the prize and each contestant won scholarships for their participation. The tradition continues every year as more youth speak up for the service. Today is also commemorated as National Text Your Ex Day on October 30. Whether you usually do breakup or the ones who broke up the National Text Your Ex Day, don't discriminate. So get your phone, think of something you want to say, and participate in National Text Your Ex Day. To text or not to text? This is the question. Sometimes our curiosity just gets the best of us, and there's no harm in checking on someone that used to mean the world to you. These interactions can sometimes be a bit awkward in person or over the phone, so luckily, texting was invented. Though the technology to implement it existed since 1988, SMS messaging was the first time on December 3rd, 1992. A 22-year-old test engineer by the name of Neil Papworth used a personal computer to send the world's first text message. Merry Christmas to the phone Richard Jarvis, who was at party. However, it wasn't until 2007 that text messaging became the most popular form of communication for mobile phones. Even before text messaging became a widely used method for communication, we had our best friends by our sides telling us not to reach out to our exes and move on with our own lives. However, this bestie's duty wasn't always necessary as splitting up wasn't common practice until the recent 1900s. In 1971, Ronald Reagan, while still Governor of California, signed into state law that a couple could legally split due to irreconcilable differences. It wasn't until 2010 that every state had their own version of no-fault divorce law. The lagging state being New York, who required exes to live in separate homes for a year before judge could convert their separation into divorce. Today is also commemorated as National Treat Your Pet Day in US on October 30. Every year it's a day to allow our beloved pets to indulge in the favorite snacks or treats. We all promote healthy diet for our cats and dogs. There's no harm in giving them extra treats at least once a year. So while they have been eating nutritiously for the past year, it's about time to make their taste buds happy. From pet-friendly cookies and kibbles to biscuits, you have wide range of treat selections from your best friend. So find out some of the ways you can celebrate National Treat Your Pet Day. So in 1880, a butcher in London was trying to expand his business by taking a new biscuit recipe for his customers to enjoy. Unfortunately, the end product tasted so awful that he couldn't consume it himself. He didn't want it to go to waste. He gave it to his dog instead, and the dog loved it. This gave the shop owner the idea to bake treats for dogs, which he eventually did. Once he started baking the same biscuit recipe in shape of a bone, it started selling quickly. By 1908, an American businessman brought his recipes and introduced to the United States. It was F.H. Burnett Biscuit Company that started producing and manufacturing dog treats in the US by 1911. The recipe was granted patent and went to the name milk boning by 1915, a nod to cow's milk, which was one of its ingredients. In 1960s, Nabisco Biscuit Company acquired the Milk-Bone brand and soon dominated the market. Not only it was marketed as a delicious treat for your pets, but also promoted healthy benefits like cleaning your dog's teeth and freshest breath. When the 1970s came, several companies produced their branded dog treats, which caused the competition to quickly rise. It was until October 30, 2021, when Dr. Matty Pets created the National Treat Your Pet Day. It was a day dedicated to giving your pets extra care and love through treats. Since it's also celebrated close to Halloween, this acts as your pet's trick on a treat festivity. So, dog treats are accidentally invented by a butcher in London after taking bad biscuits, which his dog enjoyed. Today is also commemorated as Mischief Night on October 30. We are ready to play pranks on folks around us in a healthy way. Enjoy it, have fun, and share a healthy laugh with everyone, even the subjects of your pranks. Entertain your neighborhood with silly, funny, and innocent pranks, strictly for laughs. This day started as a fun activity for kids and teenagers engaging in pranks and harmless practical jokes, but it came to be associated with severe vandalism and even arson in some places. This brought the holiday into disrepute, and soon grown ups started dreading the day as society started downplaying or disowning it. Despite the mixed feelings about Mischief Night, it offers grown ups an opportunity to bond with their young ones. Today is also commemorated as Haunted Refrigerator Night on October 30 in US. There's nothing more terrifying than old moldy food in the fridge, as this is why Haunted Refrigerator Night on October 30 is such a great day, a night for ghostly occurrences and hauntings. This night fits right into the spirit of Halloween festival, which is the next day. October 30 is also Mischief Night, Cabbage Night, or the Night of the Devil, and is a fun way to remove lurking dangers lying in wait or at the back of your fridge. The tradition of storing food in cold places have been around for a long time. Since the ancient Persians, historians believe they were the first to use cold storage for food. Although the ice was harvested for various purposes since the 1000 BC, societies like Greeks, Romans, and Hebrews also stored snow in insulated materials to keep their food cool. According to various sources, back then, ice harvesting was the only way to refrigerate food. People would prefer ice collected during the winter season in cold stores to use it in summer. By the 19th century, this method was replaced by the use of ice boxes that were usually made of wood and had large block of ice inside to keep things chilly. The ice box is commonly called the early precursor to the refrigerator. The 21st century has left us spoiled for choice in terms of food and storage options. We have various designs, models, sizes, and functionalities. This may be reason why we sometimes cannot find leftovers in the vast depths of our chilly caverns. This also may be why American actor Thomas Roy and his wife decided to create Haunted Refrigerator Night as a special day. Today is also commemorated as Homji Jahangir Baba birth anniversary on 30th October every year. So he was an Indian nuclear physicist who is widely credited as a father of Indian nuclear program. He was a founding director and professor of the physics at the Tata Institute of Fundamental Research. As a well-founding director of the Atomic Energy Establishment, Trombay, in short known as AEET, which was renamed as Baba Atomic Research Center in the honor. TIFR and AEET served as a cornerstone to the Indian nuclear energy and weapons program. He was the first chairman of the Indian Atomic Energy Commission, AEC, and secretary of the Department of Atomic Energy, DAE. By supporting space science projects which initially derived their funding from AEC, he played an important role in the birth of Indian space program. Baba was awarded the Adams Prize in 1942 and Padma Bhushan in 1954 and nominated for the Nobel Prize for Physics in 1951 and 1953 to 1956. He died in the crash of Air India Flight 101 in 1966 at the age of 56. Homji Jahangir Baba was born on 30th October 1909 into a wealthy Parsi family comprising Jahangir Tormushi Baba, a well-known lawyer, and Meherbai family. Framji Pandey, granddaughter of Sir Dinsham Manekji Petiti, who was named Homsuji after his paternal grandfather. Homsuji Baba, who was Inspector General of Education in Mysore, he received his early studies at the Mumbai's Cathedral on John Cannon School. So Baba's upbringing instilled in him an appreciation for music, painting, and gardening. He often visited his paternal aunt, Meherbal Tata, who owned a Western classical music collection, which included the works of Beethoven, Mozart, Haydn, and Schubert. Together, his brother and his cousin, it was ritual for him to listen to records from the collection over the gramophone. Baba also received special violin and piano classes. His tutor in sketching and painting was the artist Jahangir Lal Kalam. At 17, Baba's self-portrait won second place at the prestigious Bombay Art Society's exhibition. Tending to a terrace garden of exotic plants and crossbred bougainvillea and roses, Homsuji was an expert on trees, plants, and flowers. He kept books on gardening in the house's large private library. Baba showed up signs of precocity in the sciences. As a child, he spent hours playing with Mercano sets and was fond of building his own models rather than following the booklets that accompanied the sets. By 15th, he had studied general relativity. Baba frequently visited the home of his uncle, Dorabji Tata, chairman of conglomerate Tata Group and then one of the wealthiest men in India. There he was privy to conversations. Dorabji had the national leaders of the independence movement like Mahatma Gandhi and Motilal Nehru, as well as the business dealings in industries like steel, heavy chemicals, and hydroelectric power, which the Tata Group invested in. John Cockcroft remarked that overhearing these conversations should have inspired Baba's career as a scientific organizer. Though he passed his senior Cambridge examinations with honors at the age of 15, he was too young to join any college abroad. So he enrolled in Elphinstone College. He then attended the Royal Institute of Science in 1927, where he witnessed a public lecture by Arthur Compton, who would win the Nobel Prize in Physics the next year for his 1923 discovery of the Compton effect. Baba later studied that he first heard of cosmic rays, the subject of his future research, at his lecture. So the following year, he joined Gonville and College of Cambridge University. This was due to insistence of his father and then his uncle, Dorabji, who planned for Baba to obtain a degree in mechanical engineering from Cambridge and then return to India, where he would join the Tata Steel Mills in Jamshedpur as a metallurgist. So within a year of joining Cambridge University, Baba wrote a letter to his father. I seriously say to you that business or job as an engineer is not the thing for me. It is totally foreign to my nature and radically opposed to my temperament and opinions. Physics is my line. I know I shall do great things here, for each man can do the best and excel in only that thing of which he is passionately fond, in which he believes, as I do, that he has the ability to do it, that he is in the fact born and destined to do it. I am burning with the desire to do physics. I will and must do it sometime. So this is only ambition. I have no desire to be a successful man and or the head of a big firm. There are intelligent people who like that and let them do it. It is no use saying to Beethoven, you must be a scientist, for it is a great thing, when he did not care for two hoots for science, or to Socrates, be an engineer. It is work of intelligent man. It is not in the nature of things, therefore Ernest implore to you to let me do physics. So sympathetic to his son's predicament, Baba's father agreed to finance his studies in mathematics, provided that he obtained first class on his mechanical tripos. So Baba sat the mechanical tripos in June 1930 and the mathematics tripos 2 years later, passing both with the first class honors. So Baba coached for his college in boat races and designed the cover of his college magazine, the Cane. He also designed the sets for a student performance of Pedro Calderon de la Barca's play Life is a Dream and Mozart's Idomino for the Cambridge Musical Society, encouraged by the English artist and art critic. Roger Fry, who praised his sketches, Baba seriously considered becoming an artist. However, exposure to work being done at the Cavendish Laboratory at the time motivated Baba to focus on theoretical physics. When he registered as a research student in mathematics, he decided to change his name to Homji Jahangir Baba as the name he would keep for his rest of life. So Baba worked at the Cavendish Laboratory while working towards his PhD degree in theoretical physics, supervised by Ralph Fowler. At the time, the laboratory was a center for several breakthroughs in experimental physics. James Caddock had discovered the neutron, John Cockcroft and Emmett Walton has transmuted lithium with high energy protons. Francis Aston has discovered chemical isotopes, and Patrick Blackett and Giuseppe Occhialini has used cloud chambers to demonstrate the production of electron pairs and showers by gamma radiation. So, in a similar way, he has contributed a lot, and the list goes on and on. So Baba's doctoral thesis won him the Adams Prize in 1942, making him the first Indian to receive the honor. This was followed by the Hopkins Prize by the Cambridge Philosophical Society in 1948. He gained international prominence after deriving a correct expression for the probability of scattering positrons by electrons, a process now known as Baba scattering. His major contributions included work on Compton scattering, art process, and the advancement of nuclear physics. He was nominated for the Nobel Prize for Physics in 1951 and 1953 to 1956. He was awarded Padma Bhushan, India's third highest civilian honor, in 1954. In 1957, he was elected an honorary fellow of Gonville and Coes College and of the Royal Society of Edinburgh. He was elected a foreign honorary fellow of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences in 1958 and appointed the president of International Union of Pure and Applied Physics from 1960 to 1963. So Baba received several honorary doctoral degrees in science throughout his career. Padma 1944, Patna 1944, Lucknow 1949, Banaras 1950, Agra 1952, Perth 1954, Allahabad 1958, Cambridge 1959, London 1960, and in Padova 1961, and so on. On 24th January 1966, Baba was on board Air India Flight 101, a Boeing 707-420, when it crashed near Mont Blanc in a controlled flight turret while trying to land at Geneva Airport. All 106 passengers, including Baba and 11 crew members, died in the crash. A misunderstanding between Geneva Airport ATC and the pilots about the aircraft position near the mountains was noted to be the official reason of the crash. In a ceremony mourning his death, the then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi quoted, "To lose Dr. Homji Baba at its crucial moment in the development of our atomic energy program is a terrible blow for our nation. He had his most creative years ahead of him when we take up the unfinished work he has left behind. He will realize in how many fields he served us. For me, it's a personal loss. I shall miss his wide ranging mind and many talents. His determination to strengthen our country's science and enthusiastic interest in life's many facets, we mourn a great son of India." So many possible theories have been advanced for the air crash, including a bold statement that the Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, was involved in paralyzing India's nuclear program and also in the killing an Indian diplomat bag containing calendars and a personal letter was recovered near the crash site in 2012. George Douglas, a journalist, conspiracy theorist, forger, and Holocaust Daniel who claimed to have conducted telephone conversation with former CIA operative Robert Crowell in 1993, published a book titled Conversations with the Crow in 2013. According to Douglas, Crowley claimed that the CIA was responsible for assassinating Homi Bhabha and Prime Minister Shastri in 1966, 13 days apart to thwart India's nuclear program. Douglas asserted that Crowley told him a bomb in the cargo section of the plane exploded midair, bringing down the commercial Boeing 707 airliner in the Alps within a few traces. But Douglas, Crowley said, we would have blown it up over Vienna, but we decided the high mountains were much better for the bits and pieces to come down on. Conspiracy theorists point to the circumstances surrounding the death of Vikram Sarabhai, who showed no signs of illness prior to his death from a heart attack and was cremated without autopsy as additional evidence of foreign involvement. Bhabha is considered as the father of Indian nuclear program and one of the most prominent scientists in the country's history. After his death, the Atomic Energy Establishment at Mumbai was renamed the Bhabha Atomic Research Center in his honor. In 1961, TIFR showcased an exhibition of the Bhabha's life at the Royal Society, which was later moved to TIFR's auditorium foyer. The auditorium was named the Homji Bhabha Auditorium in the late scientist's honor and inaugurated by the Prime Minister Indira Gandhi on 9th November 1968. So Bhabha encouraged research in electronics, space science, microbiology, and radio astronomy. The radio telescope in Ooty, India, which is one of the world's largest steerable telescopes, was built at the Bhabha's initiative in 1970. A number of research institutes received their initial funding from the Department of Atomic Energy under Bhabha's supervision, including the Tata Memorial Hospital, the Indian Cancer Research Center, the Saha Institute of Nuclear Physics, and the Physical Research Laboratory in Ahmedabad. As a member of the Indian Cabinet Scientific Advisory Committee to the Cabinet, Bhabha played a key role in helping Vikram Sarabhai set up the Indian National Committee for Space Research. The Homji Bhabha Fellowship Council has been giving Homji Bhabha fellowships since 1967. Other noted institutions in his name are the Homji Bhabha National Institute, an Indian deemed university, and the Homji Bhabha Center for Science Education, Mumbai, India. At Bhabha's death, his estate, including Mehrangir, the sprawling colonial bungalow of Malabar Hill, where he spent most of his life, was inherited by his brother, Jamshed Bhabha. Jamshed, an avid patron of arts and culture, bequeathed the bungalow and its contents to the National Center for the Performing Arts, which auctioned the property for rupees 372 crores in 2014 to raise funds for upkeep and development of the center. The bungalow was demolished in June 2016 by the owner, Smita Krishna Godrej of the Godrej family, despite some efforts to have it preserved as a memorial to the Homji Bhabha. So Rocket Boys 2022 is a web series inspired by the lives of Homji Bhabha, Vikram Sarabhai, and APJ Abdul Kalam, in which Bhabha is played by Jim Sharp. In 2023, the second season was released. Sare Jahan Se Acha 2025, an Indian spy thriller web series started Pratik Gandhi, which takes the death of Bhabha in its initial plot development and shows it's a reason for the formation of RAW. So with this, we end today's commemorations. We thank you everyone for joining us in today's celebrations and commemorations. See you all tomorrow at the same time with the same joining link. We request you all to fill the feedback form before leaving the platform. So see you all tomorrow at the same time. Take care. Good night.